Have you ever stood at the edge of an argument, feeling the weight of someone's words press against your peace? A sharp remark, a dismissive glance, small moments that ignite something within, urging you to respond, to defend, to prove your worth. But what if true strength lies not in reaction, but in restraint? In a world that demands instant responses, where silence is mistaken for weakness, Stoicism teaches us otherwise. Silence is not surrender, it is mastery. It is the space where wisdom is cultivated, where emotions are tempered, and where true power resides. Today, we dive into an art often overlooked but immensely transformative: the power of silence. Not as a retreat, but as an assertion of control. Not as avoidance, but as a deliberate, calculated stance. What you're about to hear is more than philosophy, it's a way of life. Rooted in timeless Stoic principles and tested through real-world experience, each lesson is a step toward unshakable composure and self-mastery. So take a breath, embrace the quiet, and let's begin. 1. The strength in silence. Disrespect stings. It arrives unexpectedly, sometimes as a sharp remark, other times as a dismissive glance. And in that moment, your instincts urge you to react, to fire back, to defend, to make them feel the weight of their words. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, will my reaction change anything? Or will it only grant them what they seek: control over your emotions? Stoicism teaches us that power is not found in retaliation, but in restraint. Those who provoke you do so with intent. They feed off your reactions, using your anger as proof of their influence. But what happens when you refuse to engage? When you choose silence over conflict? You rob them of their victory. You rise above their attempts to shake you. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. True strength lies not in proving yourself to others, but in proving to yourself that you are unshaken. Imagine this: a colleague openly criticizes you in a meeting, their words laced with malice. The room waits for your response, anticipating a clash. But instead of arguing, you remain silent. Your expression is calm, your gaze steady. Suddenly, the weight of their own words hangs in the air. They are left exposed, not you. In that silence, they confront their own bitterness. You have already won. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you respond with silence, you turn the situation into a mirror. The one who sought to diminish you is left alone with their own reflection, forced to see their own pettiness. And that realization is far more powerful than any argument. The urge to react is natural, but every time you choose silence over anger, you affirm that your worth is not defined by another's words. Ask yourself, is this battle worth my peace? Is it truly necessary to defend yourself against words that hold no real value? Silence is not submission, it is self-mastery. It is a declaration that your emotions are yours alone, untouchable and unshaken. And in that silence, you teach an unspoken lesson. Disrespect only diminishes the one who gives it, never the one who receives it. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, what will you do? Will you let them dictate your emotions, or will you stand firm in the quiet strength of self-control? The choice is yours. But always remember, your peace is priceless, protected at all costs. 2. Not every battle deserves your energy. Some people thrive on conflict. They hurl insults, disrupt harmony, and provoke reactions not because they seek truth, but because they crave control. When confronted with such behavior, your first instinct may be to retaliate, to defend yourself, to ensure they know you will not be disrespected. But pause and ask yourself, is this battle worth fighting? Will engaging truly serve you, or will it simply drain your energy for nothing? Stoicism teaches that not every fight is worth your time. True power lies not in proving your strength through retaliation, but in knowing when to walk away with dignity intact. Insults only hold weight when you give them significance. By refusing to react, you strip them of their power. Imagine this: you're waiting in a long line at a cafe, patiently anticipating your turn, when someone brazenly steps in front of you. Their posture is daring, their eyes seeking confrontation. Anger stirs within you. You feel the urge to call them out, to demand respect. But instead, you take a deep breath. You remind yourself, their behavior is a reflection of them, not of me. Moments later, the cashier, recognizing the unfairness, turns to you. Who's next? Without a word, you step forward, place your order, and leave unshaken. The person who cut ahead, left alone with their own discomfort, their small victory now hollow. Silence, in moments like these, is not weakness, it is strategy. It is self-control in its purest form. Those who lack restraint will attempt to provoke you, but when you refuse to engage, you force them to confront their own actions. The noise they hoped to create dies in the void of your silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." When you let go of unnecessary conflicts, you demonstrate something far more powerful than retaliation. You show that their behavior cannot shake your peace. This is not blind tolerance. It is choosing your battles wisely. It is preserving your energy for things that matter, rather than allowing others to dictate where your attention goes. Consider the last time you were drawn into an argument that, in hindsight, was meaningless. How much time did it steal from you? How much stress did it bring? Now imagine how many of those moments you could have avoided by choosing silence. Victory is not always loud. Sometimes it is found in the quiet strength of walking away. When you refuse to be provoked, you prove that you are in command not just of the moment, but of yourself. So ask yourself, how much of my peace am I willing to sacrifice for an argument that doesn't serve me? The answer may change how you approach conflict forever. 3. The art of control, reacting versus responding. When faced with provocation, how do you choose your next move? Do you let your emotions dictate your actions, or do you pause and take control? Many mistake reacting and responding as the same thing, but in truth they are worlds apart. One is impulsive, driven by emotion. The other is measured, guided by reason. Understanding this difference is the key to maintaining your dignity and peace in any confrontation. It is easy to be pulled into anger when insulted. A careless remark, a thoughtless action, these moments ignite a fire within, pushing us toward an immediate reaction. But ask yourself, what does reacting accomplish? More often than not, it only escalates the situation, trapping you in a cycle of negativity. Reacting is surrendering. Control it is allowing someone else to dictate your emotions and responses. Responding, however, is an act of mastery. It requires patience, reflection, and the wisdom to choose your words and actions carefully. The Stoics taught us that true strength lies in discernment. Is this battle worth fighting? Will my response add value or merely fuel the fire? Silence, in its most powerful form, is not avoidance, it is a choice. A tool that forces the other person to sit with their own words, to feel the weight of what they have said without the distraction of your reaction. Consider a moment of conflict with a loved one. They lash out, their words sharp, their emotions unchecked. Your instinct is to retaliate, to meet fire with fire. But what happens if you simply remain silent? If you step away, allowing space for both of you to reflect? In that silence, the tension settles, and understanding has a chance to emerge. But silence is not always the answer. There are moments when choosing not to speak could be mistaken for submission. When your values or dignity are at stake, a response is necessary. However, even then, it must be a response deliberate, calm, and unwavering. Stoicism does not teach passive endurance, but conscious action. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." True freedom is found in mastering yourself, in refusing to let others dictate your state of mind. Whether through silence or speech, your response should serve one purpose: to preserve your peace, not to prove your worth. So before you react, take a moment, breathe. Ask yourself, is this truly worth my energy? If the answer is no, let your silence be the statement. If the answer is yes, let your response be one of wisdom, not emotion. In either case, you remain in control. And that, above all, is what true power looks like. Thank you for being part of today's journey. Your presence here shows that you are committed to growth, wisdom, and mastering your emotions. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever chosen silence over reaction? How did it change the situation? Share your experience in the comments below. Or simply comment, "I choose silence," if you're ready to embrace the strength of self-control, or "I am learning," if you're on the path to mastering it. Your words inspire not just me, but everyone in this community. Let's continue growing together. 4. Master yourself, not others. Once you understand the difference between reacting and responding, you begin to see a deeper truth: no one has power over you unless you give it to them. Every insult, every slight, every attempt to provoke you is a test. Will you allow someone else to pull the strings of your emotions, or will you remain sovereign over your own mind? Stoicism teaches that true mastery is not about controlling others, but about controlling yourself. People will try to anger you, to manipulate your feelings, to make you dance to their tune. But the moment you react without thought, you hand them the very control they seek. Silence, in these moments, is not weakness, it is a declaration that you refuse to be ruled by external forces. Imagine this: you're in a meeting and a colleague unfairly criticizes you in front of others. The temptation to respond instantly is strong, to defend yourself, to set the record straight. But what happens if you don't? What if, instead of engaging, you meet their words with steady silence? The weight of their remark now lingers in the air, unshielded by your reaction. Others notice. The person who spoke begins to feel the discomfort of their own words. And you remain untouchable, your dignity intact. The world is full of injustices, thoughtless comments, and people who thrive on stirring conflict. But the way you choose to respond is what defines you. A person who chooses silence does not do so out of fear, but out of wisdom. It is not passivity, it is an assertion of power. When you refuse to engage in negativity, you create a boundary, one that tells the world you are not easily swayed, that your peace is not for sale. Think of a seasoned bus driver. navigating through a city. Every day, impatient passengers complain, yell, and demand attention. If he engaged with each one, his focus would shatter and his journey would be thrown into chaos. But instead, he remains composed. He drives on, unaffected. Over time, even the most difficult passengers begin to recognize the futility of their frustration. The same applies to life. Your calmness forces others to confront their own behavior without your participation in their chaos. Silence is not just about avoiding conflict, it is a tool for reflection. It gives you space to ask, does this truly matter? Will my response serve me, or will it only drain me? These moments of introspection are where growth happens. In that stillness, you fortify yourself, allowing wisdom to take the place of impulse. We are now halfway through this journey, and if you're still here, it means something. You seek growth. You want to rise above the noise, to master yourself rather than be mastered by the world. But the journey isn't over. Every lesson builds upon the last, forming a path towards something greater. If this resonates with you, let it be a reminder. Your mind is yours alone. Guard it, protect it, and never let anyone take control of what belongs to you. 5. The power of silence, a shift in control. When you refuse to let others dictate your emotions, you reclaim something invaluable: mastery over yourself. But silence is more than just self-preservation. It has the power to transform the very nature of conflict. It changes the dynamic, forces reflection, and often carries a message far louder than words ever could. Silence is not avoidance. It is a deliberate act of strength. Like the pause in a symphony, it is not empty, it is purposeful, giving weight to what follows. It allows dignity to take center stage instead of impulsive reactions. And in that space, you realize that silence does not just protect you, it shifts the entire balance of power. Consider a moment when you were met with disrespect. Perhaps in a meeting, after presenting an idea you carefully crafted, a colleague dismissively remarks, "That's nothing special." Your instinct might be to defend yourself, to argue, to prove them wrong. But what if you simply remain silent? What if, instead of reacting, you let their words hang in the air, unsupported by your engagement? Suddenly their remark loses weight. It is not you who appears weak, it is they who appear petty. Silence is a standard you set for how others treat you. A child who hears constant criticism may want to fight back, to defend their worth against harsh words. But what if instead they respond with silence, see not as a sign of submission, but as a refusal to accept negativity? That silence is an assertion. I will not be defined by your words. It is easy to believe that speaking up immediately is always the right choice, but silence grants you the most valuable gift of all time. Time to reflect. Time to decide whether a response is necessary. Time to ensure that, if you do speak, your words are measured, intentional, and aligned with your values. As Seneca wisely observed, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. And so, the next time someone insults you, pause. Ask yourself, what does my silence protect? Do I truly need to respond? If the answer is no, then let your silence stand as the ultimate expression of strength. It is not retreat, it is control. It is freedom from unnecessary conflict, and most of all, freedom to live on your own terms. 6. The boundaries of silence. Silence is more than a tool for self-control. It is the foundation upon which you build your personal boundaries. Every time you choose not to respond to negativity, you are making a declaration. This is the line you cannot cross. It is not about avoidance, nor is it a sign of weakness. It is the conscious decision to dictate how others treat you without engaging in battles that do not serve you. Imagine you are at a gathering, enjoying the company of friends, when someone suddenly makes an insensitive remark aimed at you. The words hang in the air, waiting for a reaction. You feel the heat of anger rising, the urge to defend yourself, to correct them. But instead, you take a breath, let it pass, and turn your attention elsewhere. You do not dignify their words with a response, and in that moment, the weight of their attempt to provoke you shifts back onto them. They sit with their own discomfort, realizing that their words have no power over you. This is the strength of silence. It removes the fuel from the fire. It establishes, without argument, that your peace is not theirs to disturb. As Epictetus wisely stated, if you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. If you need a witness, be your own. By choosing silence, you demonstrate that your worth does not require validation. Some may mistake your silence for submission, but over time, it speaks louder than any words ever could. Those who attempt to provoke you will come to see that you do not bend to their games, and those who respect you will understand that your silence is not emptiness, but rather the presence of deep self-respect. Boundaries set through silence are not barriers meant to isolate, but shields that protect your peace. They are the quiet assertion that you do not allow disrespect into your life, that not every remark deserves acknowledgement, and that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on the insignificant. Ask yourself, do I want to be controlled by the words of others, or do I want to stand firm in my own strength? Let your silence be the answer. The next time you face provocation, do not rush to react. Instead, hold your ground and let your silence speak for you. That silence is not surrender, it is the mark of someone who truly understands their worth. 7. Find yourself through silence. Silence is not just a shield against negativity, it is a gateway to self-discovery. When you refuse to react to insults, provocations, or the chaos around you, you do more than maintain composure, you create space to listen to yourself. In that quiet, beyond the noise of others' opinions, you begin to see what truly matters. Stoicism teaches that silence is not merely an act of self-restraint, but a tool for introspection. It is in stillness that you uncover your deepest values, the principles that define who you are. When someone disrespects you, the impulse to react is natural. Their words may sting, challenging your worth, tempting you to respond. But ask yourself, what if I didn't react? What if I allowed silence to be my answer? This moment of stillness is not a sign of weakness, it is a rare opportunity. It allows you to pause, to step outside of fleeting emotions, and to ask, what do I truly stand for? If you value patience, does anger serve you? If you seek wisdom, does an impulsive reaction bring clarity? If you cherish inner peace, why surrender it so easily to those who do not? Epictetus reminds us, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. No insult can shake you unless you allow it to. When you engage with pettiness, you give it power. But when you remain silent, you deny it influence over you. Silence is a mirror. It reflects what you truly hold dear. It reminds you that your self-worth is not built on others' validation, but on the principles you live by. Honor cannot be stolen with an insult, Strength is not proven through loud rebuttals, but through unwavering composure. True power is knowing you do not need to prove anything to anyone. Think back to the last time you were insulted. If you reacted, did it bring you peace? And if you remained silent, did you not feel stronger? Stoicism does not ask you to avoid conflict, but to engage only when it serves your values. Silence is not retreat, it is resilience. It is the unshaken confidence of someone who knows exactly who they are. So the next time you stand at the crossroads of reaction and restraint, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Let silence be your answer. Not as an escape, but as a declaration: I know who I am, and no one can take that from me. Silence is not weakness. It is not avoidance. It is strength, discipline, and wisdom in its purest form. It is the ability to walk away from meaningless battles, to protect your peace, and to let your presence and not your reaction speak for you. The world will always test you. There will always be those who try to provoke you, insult you, or pull you into their chaos. But the way you respond is what defines you. Will you let them control your emotions, or will you stand firm, unshaken? Remember, every moment of restraint is a victory. Every time you choose silence over impulsive reaction, you prove to yourself that you are in control not just of your words, but of your life. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. If today's message resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Do you choose silence? If so, comment, "Silence is my power." And if you're still learning to master it, comment, "I am on the path." If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson on Stoicism, self-mastery, and the art of inner peace. Together, we are building a community of thinkers, seekers, and those who refuse to be controlled by the noise of the world. Thank you for being here. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, and above all, protect your peace.